The very first thing that I want to start today is it's the number one question of our merchant. Okay, what is the most effective way that you have found as a brand to collect reviews, to get your customers leave reviews? Let's start by that, which is also the most high level one, the most generic. Nicole, you want to take this one?
Sure. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have anything super groundbreaking here. I think where I've seen, honestly, the most success with my customers is really around incentives. I think there's kind of two things we tap into. So some sort of offer, some sort of like time-bound incentive. So if you come and leave us a review, you'll get X in return. So whether that's a discount off their next order or loyalty points or whatever it is, always seems to work well, especially with our like repeat customers who know they plan on coming back and shopping with us again. That always works really nicely. I would say the other thing that we lean into a lot, and this is maybe just like the context in which we've built our business around, is really just the emotional side of it. So a lot of our customers have really struggled their whole lives to find clothing that fits them or find brands that see them and understand their needs. And so in a lot of our messaging, we kind of lean into that a little bit and say, hey, like, can you share your experience either shopping with us as a brand or for specific products? And really just drive home the fact that the more that they review and share their experience, the more they're helping the next generation of tall women or other tall women or girls like them kind of feel better about their like the clothes that they're wearing, feel more confident and all of that. So those are kind of the two things that we tend to lean into on our side.
And what about Johnny and Ryan? Johnny, what do you see in your business?
We use the coupon. So we use, we encourage people with the coupon. I have noticed, I would say try to encourage. I think the best way to encourage is to have a great product and to make sure that you answer customer service quickly and do all those things. So make sure you have a great product, make sure you're answering customer service, make sure all of those things come into play. I've seen, especially lately, people leaning towards making or really driving people to leave reviews. And as we mentioned in the talk last week, I've seen that really go wrong. And if you really push people to reviews and you get like, oh, we're really gaming the system and we're getting reviews, what you could start to get is the AstroTurf problem, where people read the reviews and they don't see them as genuine because you've AstroTurf too much. But I do exactly what Nicole does, which is, encourage people with the coupon and have a great product.
Amazing. And Ryan, what about
Yeah,
you?
we're a little bit different. We don't offer any incentives. I think, again, I see us still as a boutique brand after all these years. And all we do is we send a simple personal email and express gratitude. But more importantly, we send a very simple email explaining how their review can help us grow and better tell our story. So it's almost like welcoming them into the Brooklyn Bicycle Company family and then letting them know that, just click one of these stars, leave a couple comments, and it will very much help us better tell our story and help us grow. So we don't offer incentives. And I do feel like Johnny hit the nail on the head. I mean, the first starter is having a good product. If you have a good product and you make people feel good about their purchase, I think by and large, there's a lot of those people who will take 30, 50, 30, 45 seconds out of their day to leave some feedback for you. And it works. It works for us.
Yeah,
Nice.
I want to plus one to that too. We like anytime that we really like highlight ourselves or like take that more personal approach too. Like, hey, we're just two tall girls like trying to solve the problem that you guys have all experienced too. I think the more you can humanize your brand and your mission, I think like Ryan, you're right. Like it takes it one step further. People just want to help, right, and be part of it.
Yeah, I could add one more thing, because I think this should be said. I'm sure most of the people on the call are not going to do this, but I do hear it eventually. I have a couple of little e-com groups where people come in and they talk about new strategies. Don't make fake reviews. Like, just absolutely don't do it. It's something that people think that might help. And I would say human nature is that people read reviews and a lot of people can detect fake reviews. And so don't AstroTurf, don't fake them. Don't just wait till they come in, the real way. And that's when they're valuable.
Absolutely. I definitely like it's a plus one for me. We very much as a company, we very much like tend to support authenticity in any sort of kind and like a manners. So not fake reviews, also not like we also a supporter of the fact of not hiding negative reviews. There are some negative reviews which are not fair, they're wrong. And so definitely like merchant, they are hurtful for merchant, but those reviews who are negative, but they are fair, they actually support the business because it gives authenticity. And we're going to touch on that. Anyway, it's very nice. It's we're very nice that we're getting into this very practical tactic. What I want to hear from you guys is one of the questions that we also get is what's the best timing? And we always struggle to give an answer about that. What's the best timing for Ask a Review? Because I think it really changes based on the sort of product that you sell, right? So I'm curious if you like what's your experience with that, and yeah, tell us a bit more about that.
I can start. I think for me, just really simply put, and it's whether it's my own business or some of my clients' businesses that I also work with, it's really just looking for like what is that time in the customer journey where they're at like their peak excitement mode, right? And it's usually when it's a physical product, usually when they receive that thing and they're opening it and they're experiencing it for the first time. So I'm always just trying to time my review requests in and around when that happens. Depending on the type of product, I think you need to consider like, does that product need to be used for a little while? Like, is it a skincare product? We need to use it for like 4 weeks to actually see if it works or not. So that's something to consider. Or is it like a t-shirt or something that you're going to throw on and feel how amazing it is right away? So I think, yeah, thinking about like when is that kind of like peak moment for the customer, and then keeping in mind what type of usage is required for a customer to feel like they'd be ready to actually like give a solid review in the first place, and trying to time it around those two things is typically what I do.
Yeah, we tend to say that, yeah, but similarly to what you just described, that you need to give the time to experience the product. We tend to see that like for example, like apparel, electronics, maybe like the time is like 10, like 10 days. Durable is a bit longer, like skin care is longer, of course, because you have to test the product. So like it can be also a month, right? I wonder if you ever have you guys ever A/B tasted it in your specific product? Johnny, you're nodding, so I'll let you. I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, we're A/B testing it right now. We we went with the Judge.me app for years and years. We were just using it until we had recently decided to move it into Klaviyo. But I would say, one of the questions I would ask the people on the chat was if you could chime in with, are you guys over 7 figures a year, or under 7 figures, or over 8 figures, or under? That would give us a good idea of what to speak to. I would say for us, we love the Judge.me app for just sending the reviews, and it worked awesome. I know maybe 2 months ago we came up with the idea A/B tested, and we might possibly change. But if you're not in that range, we're mid 8 figures right now, so that's why we're starting to look at that stuff. I would just totally run it in Judge.me. We do 2 weeks. That was our number, 2 weeks, and it was like that for 5 years.
And you mentioned that you were A/B testing it. You've been A/B testing it recently. To what duration?
I'm actually checking the results because we've only been running this most recent test for 14 days. And I think the last time we spoke, we were 7 days in. So now we're going to be 14 when I check it. Klaviyo is making me 2FA, which doesn't usually make me do, but I'll know the results in a minute. So we're doing two tests. We're doing 7 days, and we're doing 10 days and 14 days after shipping confirmation. So we have those two going. And if you guys want to go to another question, I'll drop the results in the chat.
Ryan, what about you? Is that something that you care about for your products, your specific product? What's the average time?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have a unique fulfillment model, and I think I'll preface this by saying I don't think there's a blanket answer that is going to work for everybody. I don't think there's like 7 days, 14 days is the answer, because our fulfillment process involves we don't ship our bicycles to people's homes. We ship them to a local bike shop. We cover the cost of having that bike professionally assembled. We have that, but the customer goes to the bike shop and picks up the bike. So there's a window of time there where no matter what we do, that customer is not going to have the product. We'll see the bike will be delivered to the bike shop, but they don't drop what they're doing to assemble it. It falls into an assembly queue. So we wait until we have a trigger that suggests that the order is closed, as in like the customer picked up their bike. And I think it's about 2 weeks after that. All in all, I think it's about a 30-day window from when we fulfilled it. So it's quite long, but I do think we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to ride the bike, to experience the bike. If they need to go back to the shop to have the seat adjusted or something adjusted, that's taken care of as well. And I think that's struck a chord. We have not done A/B testing. I appreciate that Johnny has, and that's just a trigger to me that we probably should do something like that. But we're at about a 30-day window, and that is because of our unique fulfillment process.
Understood. And I think one of the things that we also keep discussing with merchant, and like merchant ask a lot is like, what about visual reviews, right? So like photos, videos. Then of course this applies to specific certain type of products. Is not relevant to like all categories. Like, but I believe for like your product is very relevant. What's your experience with it? Because it's harder, right, to get visual reviews. And sometimes it's even harder to get good visual reviews that you can use. I can see you're nodding, Nicole.
Yeah, I have struggled with this a lot. I actually thought it was going to be way easier than it actually is. I think one thing that we see a lot with our customers is when they receive our products, they're like, oh my God, like they're just so elated that something actually fits them. And they're quick to like share with friends, and like word of mouth has been like a huge driver for us, which has been really popular. I thought that was going to translate over to what they would then come onto our site and leave reviews and share and everything. It's actually really challenging. We at one point actually started using a different review software on top of Judge.me that specialized in capturing video reviews, where it would send out emails and it would literally give them like little prompts, and they just kind of had to answer these questions. Like they didn't even have to think about what they were going to say. We thought that was going to help. It didn't really. And I think like what I learned from all of that, and and also I'll also add, we tried like different incentives, like giving them higher discounts for videos than we do for regular reviews, all the things. I think what I took away, and again, this could just be specific to our customer base, but our customers aren't like, I don't know how to blanket. Our customers, I would say, as a whole, have struggled with confidence because we've never had products that make us feel good, right? And so we're not the first to like be like running in front of the camera and like modeling things, because it just isn't, it's not something we're used to doing. And so I think that is something that we just had to keep in mind. Like our customers just aren't comfortable enough yet to be able to, like, as a whole, be willing to kind of jump in front of the camera and take pictures. It also, I think, comes down to your demographics too. Like our customer base is probably like, I would say like 30s and 40s. And so I think, even just speaking for myself, like I'm not like the person who just wants to create TikToks all day. Then maybe maybe like a younger demographic would feel more comfortable. So I think there's a lot of different things at play. But I do feel like we tested so many different things and tried so many different things, and it's just been a challenge. So now, honestly, we just take them when we get them, but we aren't like wasting too much effort on that anymore.
Is that
I
similar
think,
to your experience? Yeah, right.
yeah, I mean, I think fortunately for us, bikes are something that very much lend themselves to being photographed. It doesn't have to have, the person doesn't have to be in the photo. So the
Mm.
majority of our photos are not people riding their bikes. It is a bike on a fall day next to a pond. It is a bike on a fall day up against a graffiti wall or something like that. So I do think that's our kind of built-in cheat code, is that you don't have to take a picture of yourself, which I do think increases the hesitation of folks to leave video or photos. But if you can
Yeah.
just put the bike in there and there's no people in there, it's a little bit of a cheat code for us. So I mean, what I would suggest that people who have apparel is probably the one industry where it becomes most challenging, is maybe if they can put their apparel on the bed and take a picture of the jeans. It's obviously is not as exciting, but it is something to share, and you can capture their enthusiasm in the text, and then you have the image to kind of go alongside of that. But for us, the bikes photograph as well with a person as without a person. So it's a little bit of a built-in cheat code for us. Unfortunately, I can't help people who don't have that.
We actually tried, just to touch on that one thing, we actually tried that. We were like, in that software we were using for the video, we were like, don't worry, you don't actually have to wear or like model it. Like you could just literally hold up the t-shirt and be like, it's stretchy, I like it, or like, look at the fabric. Still nobody did it. That was annoying.
I think,
So
I think they feel they have to wear it to share a
Yeah,
picture.
that's a lot of pressure. Like that's a lot
It
of
is
pressure.
a
You
lot
gotta
of pressure.
do your hair and your makeup and everything. No, too much work.
What we tend to say, yeah, is that it is hard indeed. That's why, like, sometimes like discount or like incentives, they work. The one way also, like we tend to suggest is also not necessarily giving discount, but maybe using some loyalty programs. So we have, for example, as Judge.me, we have integrations with some amazing tech partner like Smile, Loyally, Love Loyalty, Bone Loyalty, all this like all this loyalty app where you can actually acquire points on a wider on a wider basis, and like then use points in your purchases. So I mean that also works. Johnny, did I catch you out? Were you about to say something, or?
Yes. So with the reviews, I'm gonna piggyback on exactly what Nicole said, which is what because I'm my work in an agency part of the time, I found a client who wasn't on Judge.me, and I've kind of gotten used to my workflow. So it was a little bit of a struggle. I remember posting about it on Twitter, saying I really didn't want to learn a new review app. I really don't like to work with new software products once I find one that works. And so I had to dive into the the nuts and bolts of this one. It wasn't that difficult. I figured it out. I'm an adult. But I realized at one point that they were as well encouraging people to leave longer reviews because they have like just a trigger to say to people, hey, leave a longer review. And we had a tremendous amount of problems with that in our review system for creating creative, because I have a very thorough process at this point for making creatives for landing page, emails, personas. And it really threw us off. We were struggling to figure out what the brand voice was and all those different things. And eventually I ran all the reviews through ChatGPT, and I was like, can you filter out the fake ones? I created a prompt that would filter out fake reviews, and something like 91% or something of their reviews got flagged by ChatGPT for being fake. And after going through with the brand and trying to figure out, it came up that they had been using this software which encourages people to leave longer reviews, and as a result, it seemed like they were not so genuine. So I would just caution people, just be careful when you're encouraging people. That's where that conversation before that I had started, which was, don't encourage too much. You want to make a great product. You want to make sure that you have great customer service, because I'm telling you, that's where your best reviews will come from maybe dropping a link in the chat when you're on Messenger talking to people hey, by the way, if you had a great experience, leave a review on Judge.me. That will work better than you gaming the system with some other little program, in my experience anyway. And then the second part of it was with picture reviews. It just goes to show you how little adept I am at things. I didn't know that you could do picture reviews on Judge.me till probably 6 months or a year ago. I had no idea. So I never really went and looked at them until recently, until we were switching to Klaviyo, and then I figured it out. So now we're trying to get picture reviews. That's just me being like, hey, listen, guys, I'm not that great at this stuff. Sometimes I still mess up.
Yeah, we also have reminders. Like if there's someone leave a text review, we also have like reminders that can automatically be triggered just to kind of upsell the review. So leave also like a video review now, like a video or a photo review now, which is quite successful. I definitely suggest that like every single customer like to use it. There is one thing that like it makes me giggle. Sometimes we also ask, people are a bit, sometimes feel it's awkward to ask reviews, right? So because it's a bit unnatural. So what would be your advice when someone that feels it's actually maybe someone starting on someone scaling that feels yeah, it makes me feel a bit nervous, a bit awkward to ask for it. How do you put yourself out there when you ask for reviews?
I mean, I think there's a couple things. The number one thing, and this is a thread throughout all these conversations, is number one, have a great product. I don't know if the apprehension is because you're afraid you're going to get a bad review, but I would say number one is have a good product. Number two is listen to this session as we go onward in this session. There are so many brilliant ways to leverage reviews to help enhance your marketing, to help enhance your product development, and you're going to hear some of those as we continue in this conversation. But I would say in 14 years, I've never had a single unfavorable response to a request for review. I would say we've not always gotten the best reviews, but the request for the review itself, I've never gotten a bad response to that particular one. And if you are hesitant about a bad review, I would also flip the script and say that some of our most vocal advocates have been people who have left a 1-star review. And I often say that a 1-star review to me often is a support call masqueraded as a review. Somebody has really experienced something that they need addressed. whether they're too lazy to issue a support ticket or create a support ticket. But I think by and large, when somebody leaves a 1-star review, it's a call for help. It's not nobody. I take that back. There are a few people who don't mind trying to slaughter your brand, but by and large, I think most people are just looking to get help. And when you do help them, I always say, hey, would you mind going back and just addressing your review, because I don't think it's reflective of your true experience now. And so I do think that, and again, as we go through this session, you're going to be pinching yourself if you're not asking for reviews and you have hesitation, because there's so many brilliant things well beyond, on-page CRO that you can do with reviews to help tell your story, whether it's on Meta, so on and so forth. But I don't want to spoil it.
And
Yeah,
sometimes
definitely.
it's also how you frame it, right? Because rather than like, please give us a review, it's like help older customers to have like make informed choices, right? This is it's all about making sure that older people like you can buy again, right? And can buy, and they can be secure when they buy.
Yeah,
Um,
I was just gonna say that, like, from a framing standpoint, it's like people always want to feel like they're part of something like bigger than themselves, right? So whether that's helping you as the small business owner, like realize your dream and like bring a product to life or service to life, like someone wants to be part of that. Or like in other cases, it's like if you're creating something to solve a problem in the market, people want to be a part of that solution. So I think make it less like, if you're feeling weird about it, try to make your requests less like transactional, like, hey, give me this review so I can sell more products, and make it more about them and like how it'll benefit them, or make them feel like they're part of like the bigger picture. I think that goes a long way as well.
One thing I would say is you can, just use plain marketing on this. I just checked, by the way, my Judge.me, my Judge.me flows produce a good amount of income over the last couple of years, by the way, the ones that came out of the app. So, it's a channel for us. Like people, we send a review out. Sometimes we don't get the review and we get the purchase instead, which is fine. But I think though, looking at the emails, like you need to look at the email and say, how would I feel if I was that customer receiving this email from that company? Certain customers are going to respond differently. Like I'm sure, Ryan, he probably has a certain way he's sending emails and his customers responded to it. For us, the best email we ever had, I'll share a little secret. My wife and her partner took a picture one time on a couch, and in our review, spiel, hey, give us a review. It basically said, hi, this is Lisa and Jen. We started this company in our living rooms in 2020 to, offer our customers something that we thought was missing, the perfect t-shirt. So it spoke to those customers because they have living rooms and they sit in their living room and they want the perfect t-shirt. And these two women just started a company in their living room selling t-shirts. So we got a lot of reviews out of that. At one point, I noticed that we had kind of trailed off with that email. Guess why? Because we had sent that email to them like 10 times, because some of them are repeat purchasers. So that's one of the reasons that we started to build out the review flows a little differently, was that we were starting to see that people, I have a customer who has, I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I have a customer who has 30 of these. So she has received 30 emails about her sweatshirt asking her to leave a review. And, it's at a certain point that's going to get kind of old. She's going to be like, no. So it was set up a certain way in Judge.me, and it worked really well for 5 years or so. But then all of a sudden we realized we had to move on. So I would just say A/B test it. Just send a picture of you guys. Send our one right now. I don't know if you guys can see this, but that is my. Can you see that computer?
Not quite. It's a bit small for me.
Yeah. So that's our new one. It's a graphic. We removed the picture. We did like a nice, pretty graphic. It's got a picture of an envelope, almost looks like an invitation, and it's like welcome to Perfect White Tea, the brand. And that is working for us really well. It's got a really great response rate right now. So just keep testing it, keep changing it. You just got to keep in mind, if you have repeat customers, they're gonna get that email 5 to 10 times or more.
Amazing. I would say let's move into let's dig into this whole review marketing thing, right? So because of course, like we're talking about how we collect reviews, but when you have reviews, how do you actually use them, right? Of course, the most obvious way is having your reviews living on your site. And at Judge.me, we have like multiple widgets, so where you can have like star rating, text, like all review page, but I think it's a bit also more than that, right? So there is an opportunity opportunity in using your reviews like across marketing channel. And I believe I'm reading in the chat, and Sean like he's asking, does Google Shopping benefit from integrating the reviews into the ads? That's a great question, isn't it? How do you guys use reviews in your marketing channel? Do you use them at all? How do you use it?
I mean, I could dive in quickly, and probably going to be the similar story, but in short, we use them everywhere. We use them obviously on site, as you alluded to. We use them in our Klaviyo email flows. We use them on our landing pages. We're using them in our meta ads. We use them on some of our product packaging, and we use them everywhere you can imagine. We use them. We are review whores, for lack of a better word. I will put the reviews everywhere because I think it helps sell the product. It helps tell your story. As Johnny alluded to, as long as you're not astroturfing or creating fake reviews, real words from real people are going to move product more than you could ever imagine. So I said something mildly inappropriate. I'll let someone else take over, and we'll take it from there.
I'll go. Actually, Nicole, do you mind me going first?
Go, you're good.
I figured I would let you clean up because him and I are not gonna, be perfect at this. You're a review person as well. I have figured out at some point that you could. I think the first thing you guys know Charlie T? Does anybody know Charlie T? He's like a polarizing figure on Twitter. In Twitter DTC, people love him, people hate him. Charlie had a YouTube video that I think everybody should probably watch. It's free, and it said maybe 2 years ago he dropped this video that said, take your reviews to ChatGPT or some LLM, drop them in, and then see what happens. Basically take your reviews. So I was like, okay, cool. We got 1,500 reviews. I dropped 1,500 reviews in. It was like errors. Then I watched the video again, and it was like he said, take 50. So that's what I've done ever since then. Is I take 50 reviews, I bring them to ChatGPT, and then I ask it a series of questions, and then it gives me answers. And it could be, come up with an email strategy, come up with a Facebook ad, come up with some landing page copy, all of those different things. And I figured out after a while that the best thing in the world is for me on my phone. I have this spreadsheet, and it has all of our reviews broken down differently. So it has all 1-star reviews, all 2-star, and so on. Then it has by product. Then I have best reviews. I have top 40 reviews. I have like the worst reviews. And so what I do is I just go in there and I'll grab 50 reviews at a time, and I drag them to ChatGPT, and then I ask my questions. And I would say also, by the way, use Perplexity and ChatGPT at the same time and compare the differences.
Yeah, I'm a big Perplexity fan, so I get that. It's very factual, so it never got it wrong. Never got it wrong. Nicole, do you wanna share a bit about how you use it?
Honestly, I have nothing really to add. We're the same. Like we use them everywhere and in different ways, right? So obviously a more granular view on specific PDPs, or for promoting specific products, leveraging those reviews for those products to help drive the sales across email, website, ads, whatever it might be. I would say another way that we use kind of our reviews in aggregate is like as a kind of subtle reassurance. So just having that kind of one line in emails or an icon or somewhere that's like over 19,000, 4.8 star average, you know what I mean? So it's like just kind of like that quick stat that you can plug in places that works especially good with like new customers or people who are brand new to your brand. Just setting some level of trust and credibility at the brand level, I think is another really great way to use reviews. And I would say the last one is in some of our like abandoned cart flows, understanding like what are some of the most common, I don't know, like reasons why people aren't checking out or aren't placing an order, like get to know what those are and understand those, and then find reviews that address some of those. And leveraging those in specific flows, like get into the heads of the customer, right? If it's your abandoned cart flow, for example, people are getting hung up somewhere, whether it's like size or fit or availability, whatever it might be, and try to find reviews that literally contradict that concern, right? And pulling in the kind of right sentiment of reviews at the right time in the customer journey can be really, really powerful as well.
How do you do that, if I may ask? Like how do you have a process to do that? Like to guess about like why they might be dropping, or and then like to identify what's relevant to them?
So we send out a survey to our customers who have been on our email list for more, I think it's 30 or 45 days, I forget. But anyone who's been on our email list for more than a chunk of time and they have not placed an order, we automatically send out a type form survey to get feedback as to why not. So we get a lot of insight from that as to like why people aren't buying. So it's not necessarily specific to the products. We have like thousands of products on our site, but there are typically themes around what's holding people back. And so if we've got like a certain number of emails, three or so emails going out in our abandoned cart flow, making sure we're pulling in some brand level testimonials that kind of contradict what some of those hesitations might be, is a nice way to kind of use reviews in context of like a certain message you're trying to deliver. And I would say a fast way to do this is like Johnny was saying, you can, once you figure out what some of those hesitations are, you can literally just pull your reviews into ChatGPT, Perplexity, whatever, and say, hey, these are some core hesitations my customers have. Find me reviews that address those. And there you go. You're done.
That's great. I was speaking to one of our customer in another online event, and he suggests like this sort of tactic that I thought it was extremely interesting. So they combine also like some surveys with they get an understanding about their personas with reviews, right? So they do a kind of a similar thing. So they get the reviews into ChatGPT or like some LLMs, and they understand like how, like what are the common topics and the common theme, and then they match their personas and the specific marketing messages, right? So, and this become an extremely powerful combination, especially if you use it on let's say your meta ads, where you have a lot of control like about your audiences. You can literally like set up like different campaigns with different audiences, and then like run an A/B test on the specific messaging for that exact persona. And he was mentioning that like he's like the click-through rate skyrocketed when he started doing it, because not only he had a better understanding of the persona itself, but also was using verbatim certain like challenges and pain points, and how the customer, like in the language of their customers. Is that something that you've experienced? I think you're all nodding, so I guess you. Is that something that you do on your ads as well? John, you want to talk a bit more about this? Because I know that you're a meta ad, a big meta ad marketer, aren't you?
I hate to go to ChatGPT again, but I would say everybody on the call, you probably should just like take this to like, first of all, if you're using GPT and you're using reviews, one of the things you can do is just take all the famous books that you have and start your ChatGPT prompt with acting as the author of such and such book, using these reviews, build me a framework to market to this customer. And then, you go from there. So just to give you a specific case with reviews that I have done recently, I was reading Breakthrough Advertising, really good book. Where's that book? It's a really good book right here. I'm reading this book right now. It's awesome. I've done work on it before, but you could take his work and make a chat prompt out of it. So one of his things is about the voice of the customer. Fabrizio was just talking about the voice of the customer's words. So you could take 50 reviews, and simple prompt is, I want you to create a voice of the customer. Here are 50 reviews. Give me the voice of the customer document. And that's like I don't know what they exactly call it, but in marketing, sometimes you'll get like a brand guideline, and then other times you'll get an avatar. But the voice of the customer is a different kind of document, and that's good for copywriters specifically, people who are writing landing page copy, people who are writing ads, people who are writing PDPs. So you just, to arrive at that voice of the customer, you take your 50 reviews, simply insert that prompt, acting as the author, Eugene Schwartz of Breakthrough Advertising. I want you to create voice of the customer prompt. Boom.
And Ryan, I think you said in with me, like when we were chatting, like in the prep session about this webinar, that you have a similar approach, and don't you? So you also like use it for similar analysis, right?
Yeah, I mean, we take it even beyond what they're saying. So our prompt, and I will find a way. I'm happy to share this. There's nothing secret about who we are or what we do, but the simple things we ask for, we export. So someone was asking in the chat, how do you get your reviews into ChatGPT? you simply export it from Judge.me in a CSV file, and you could attach them to your prompt in ChatGPT or Perplexity. But we asked to look for common problems. So what are the issues if someone is mentioning something unfavorable about the bike that we can solve or change our product? But we also asked ChatGPT to uncover what are the most common use cases for our bike, identify explicit sentiments and like underlying emotions, but also ones that may be inferred. So somebody's not explicitly saying something, they are inferring something through their words. So when you put in 50 or 100 reviews, or I put in, Johnny, I haven't had that issue. I put in about 1,500 reviews and it worked wonderfully for us. But that being said, I don't just ask what are the words that are being said, what is being inferred by these. And I also do preface a lot of my prompts with some of the top authors that I really appreciate or that I follow or people who I consider their words gospel. And then the last thing that we've done, and this is something we've always struggled with as a brand, and AI has solved this problem for us, and maybe a lot of people have this, is just persona creation. What are the five most frequent buyer personas that you are seeing through these review threads? And I think put this into ChatGPT, and you'll be knocked over. You may have to ask it to limit it to 10 pages because it will give you a lot of stuff to read. But by and large, if you prompt it properly, it's all in the prompts. It will give you some tremendous data, and you take that data and spin that into marketing campaigns, spin that into new products. I think that's an upcoming question is about new product development. But everything is in these reviews. People who've given you money, they've paid for your product, they've experienced your product, they've given feedback on your product. You want more of those people. So take those words and pass those on through your marketing, through your words, use your PDPs and so on.
I think there is like, I saw a question just to confirm so Brita was asking about the book that Johnny mentioned. I think it was Breakthrough Advertising, wasn't it?
Yeah, I put in the chat.
Amazing. Yeah. Breakthrough Advertising.
I'm just going to give you a tip though. The book is very expensive. It's $125. You don't necessarily need to spend it right now. What you could do is go to ChatGPT and ask for a framework of the book and work from there until you want to spend the $125. I honestly think it's well worth it. But sometimes when you're starting out small, I had a $50 a day budget on Facebook ads when I started this company. So I can imagine that many of you are just like me, you're trying to marshal your resources. You don't want to spend that. The prompt is 90% as good. And one day, if you do get there, the author of that book, a guy named Brian Kurtz, worked for him, and he does workshops a couple of times a year. So I'm actually in his workshop right now. It's a 1-to-1, like 1-to-10 workshop or something like that. Really great, very valuable. But I would start with the prompt if you don't want to buy the book.
Amazing. So yeah, that was right. I think someone put it in the chat. And Ryan, to your point, yeah, I mean, of course, like the type of insight and knowledge that you get out of it is it's can make it or break it, like your marketing campaign. But as you touched on it, it's not only the marketing campaign, right? So certain customers also use it to almost evolve the product, right? So evolve the product and doing product development. And then of course it depends on, the life cycle of the product, or like how easy it is to get feedback and how easy it is to evolve the product into like a different version. But like this always remind me of when there's like all the executive in Google, I keep saying that like the best innovation that they've done like in their product is when they listen to their customers, see how they use their product, and then when they see their product being used in a way that they didn't even imagine, they build it. So have you experienced like a similar thing? Like have you ever, like, of course, like you're selling bikes, and have you been able, like, has that happened to you that like based on what you saw, you evolved your product into something else?
Yeah, I mean, I think the terms that we look for in the reviews are "I wish" or "I hope." So somebody will say, "Great experience. I wish this bike had wider tires," or "I wish this," or "I wish that." So I do think there are a lot of things that you can prompt it for. But by and large, I think when we prompt it for product ideation, we are asking for, what are some common threads? If we were to develop 5 new products based on all these reviews, or 5 product enhancement based on these product reviews, what would you suggest? And again, it all goes back to putting those reviews in, asking ChatGPT to analyze those reviews in the context or using the prompt that you've given. But it's like asking them, if people are saying, "I wish," what are they wishing for? What are the 5 most common things people are wishing for, or synonyms of "I wish"? or I hope that they will enhance it this way. And again, you have to take into context, somebody may have put that review out 4 years ago when you've subsequently addressed an issue where we have wider tires. But again, I mean, I don't think there's anyone that, if you're not using ChatGPT or Perplexity more than 2 hours a day, I think there are perhaps therapy sessions for you out there to encourage you to do that.
I assure like ChatGPT was not a sponsor of this of this webinar. The Nicole, thinking about your business model, right? Because of course you work with third-party producer like brands, right? Like, so you select brands. Has understanding your audience has ever helped you in also selecting, and you can say no, of course, but in selecting your brand, the brands you want to work on, or you understand a bit more about your audience, and then you can make like a better selection?
Yeah, I would say that comes through more so through just like social, like just comments and discussion more so than reviews. Like typically when people are leaving review, they're not suggesting other brands or I wish you guys carried X or Y or whatever. But that survey I mentioned that we send out, that is a specific question in there. What products, what other categories would you want to see more of? What brands do you want to see more of? So that's like a constant feedback loop for us. And then I would say it just happens naturally on social. Sometimes we'll get tagged in other brands' posts like, hey, you guys should sell on tall size or what. So there's a number of different ways that this comes through. But it's not typically through like actual reviews, I would say. It's through other channels.
Yeah, that's fair enough. The one thing that I want to mention to the audience, so if like because also I saw that like some of someone in the audience like is starting or like they are like growing their brand, they're like under 7 figures. So the one thing that we see extremely helpful for brands as soon as you have like at least a number, like a minimum number of reviews, is actually having a page, one page with your reviews. We call it like we call it like all page reviews. So basically is aggregating all your reviews in one page, which is actually named as like reviews, and that's because you can own your traffic. So when people look for your brand, they can, you know, when they look for your brand, normally they use Google like with a search modifier. So they type your brand and then they search for review, right? So you can either decide for them to find this information in some third party platform, or you can own it on your site. And in that sense, you want to have that page that aggregates all of your reviews in one. It's very good for trust, credibility, and SEO. Right. I think we are like about 10 minutes, like 10 minutes away from like the end of this amazing session. I'm seeing a lot of very good like comment in it. I would like to take a few questions. Yes, and you guys let me know like who wants to answer to any of this. So let me go on the first one. I think Paul was asking, I think we answered that, but Paul was asking, how do you guys use customer feedback from reviews to fuel innovation in your organization?
I feel like we talked about that a lot
Yeah,
already.
I think we talked about that, right? So you can use it like in different ways, but like I think that's what's the main comment here was don't underestimate the value of analyzing in bulk and making sure that like you trigger a lot with, I mean, you play a lot with the large language models, and so that you can also open engineering like this process and like making it work for you. Were you about to say something, Johnny? Yeah.
Yeah, last year we had we have a core product that we've sold a ton of, and it's what we're famous for. So you know, it's like, hey, don't touch the core product, don't mess with it. It's so awesome. But I did find in Judge.me in the reviews, I kept noticing that we had some 1-star reviews, and I'm like aggregating 1-star reviews. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have so many 1-star reviews for the best-selling product. How could this be? So we this product is specifically built for a certain kind of consumer. And we had realized at one point that other consumers wanted to have it, and when they would buy it, it didn't fit them very well. So we came out with different versions of the same product in a very similar vein to what Nicole does. You know, we basically just said, oh wow, our core customer is this person, but these other people want to be serviced too. So now this week, actually at the end of the week, we have this product dropping that has longer sleeves, because we had a sweatshirt and people who were taller were saying that the sleeves were too short, but we specifically made these sleeves short because It was made for an influencer like 5 years ago who used to wear a lot of bracelets, and she had a Rolex, and she wanted to show everybody what her sleeves were. So we made a special sweatshirt and a collab with her, and that sweatshirt became famous. We made millions of them sweatshirts. So we made millions of sweatshirts. So now we realized that we have to make a longer version. It only came because of that thing, but it really was our product that we were famous for. And then as a result, now we're launching that one. And then as soon as we started that, we realized we're like, wow, we got to make longer sweatpants. So now we're going to compete with Nicole on her products. Just kidding. So we started
Trust
launching
me, we need
products.
we need all the options. So there's no competition. We need you.
Definitely, it
What
can
the
inform
merrier.
production as far as what you're doing wrong. Like you should not only use it for marketing, but I also use it to inform production what they're doing wrong, like where we're messing up.
So let me go into the next one. I think there is a question for Johnny. How are you split testing the review timing? Are you doing this manually or there is an A/B testing tool? Well,
I'm using Klaviyo. I have the results here, by the way, if you want me to read them.
yeah, why
Um,
not?
so it looks like there's an A/B. The first, we used to do just 14 days when it was in Judge.me. So we wanted to test it. We brought 10 days and 14 days. This is the second week of the split test. So we've sent 5,000 emails, and the open rate is 62 on the 10 day and 61 on the 14, so not a big difference. The click rate on the 10 day is 1.9. The click rate is 2.1 on the 14 days, so that's a little bit better. The placed order online is half of 1% for the 10 day, and it is substantially less, 0.4 for the 14 day. So it looks like we're getting more click through on the 14 day, but we're substantially more revenue generated, 30% more revenue generated by the 10 day review.
Okay, that's very good.
I would say split test it though, because your results are going to be different, as Ryan mentioned.
Okay, so let me go through customer base. What do you do for the survey? So let's get this answer live. One for Nicole. Nicole, what do you title that survey email to get them to open actually complete it for you?
Oh, I think the subject line is, do you have a minute? Question mark. And it's just from my name. I think I just have Nicole from Tall Size is the from name, and it's just a plain text email. I see a lot of success with super basic text emails from a person at the company. If you use them sparingly, if you start overusing them, then it just becomes your new marketing like from name or in your marketing emails. But yeah, when you have like a really high value ask, that's I tend to tap into just a plain text email for myself, for my co-founder Kayla. Really short, hey, have a sec, here's the link to the survey. And then like I said, just reinforcing how much like in this particular case, the surveys really just help us grow as business owners and create better experiences. So that's really it. And we don't send any reminders or anything. And I was actually thinking about as we were doing this session, we get a lot, like a really, really healthy response rate to those, maybe a healthier rate than our product review emails. And we still get like a lot of really interesting insights out of those surveys. So I would suggest we do two types of surveys. We do the one that I mentioned earlier. If you've been on our list for a certain amount of time and you haven't purchased, we send that out. If you have purchased, you get a different version of the survey, but same idea, asking for feedback about your experience. So I would say everybody just to consider having some sort of like product and brand review email situation going out, asking for those, but also have some sort of survey component too, and see if you're getting different response rates for both and kind of work those separately.
Thank you. And let me go. So there is this is an interesting one. Would love to learn from the experts here. How do you deal with a hostile customer leaving negative reviews? This can be harmful for small businesses, brand. So they do it to get a refund for a product against the return policy or damaging the product during use. How do you balance business sense versus customer satisfaction?
I'll speak quickly. I mean, I'll refer to what I said previously, but I don't see a bad review as being a bad thing. If you have 5 reviews and one of them is bad, yes, I think it's going to lower your overall score. But the more reviews you have, a 1-star review, as Johnny said, there's an abundance on them. We get them. It's only going to make your 4 and 5-star reviews look that much more credible. So I think it is okay to leave those there. I personally respond to every single review. I leave a note, no matter who sent the review. I respond to every single review, referencing something in the review, and I sign my name to it. But I'll stand by what I said before, that I think bad reviews, and I think the individual that asked the question was alluding to this, are often just a request for help, masquerading as a review. That this is my problem. I do think if they're right in what they're asking for, if they're not being unreasonable, you can help them address that. And then I always will ask them, would you mind taking a moment after we've addressed their issue to adjust your review? But if it is someone who's being unreasonable, I would just respond to them, because you can go in and respond to their review, and that is public, that is posted publicly. You can see those on our website, all my responses, and leave it be. I don't think there's a single review. The notion that a single review is going to sink your business is, I don't think that's a valid notion. I don't think a single review is going to hurt you. In fact, I think a single bad review um, in a field of positive reviews is very much going to help your business and make those other reviews be more credible, or not look like they're astroturf, as a new term that Johnny taught me.
Okay, so Ryan, also in this case, then, while as the I think the name is Sriti, he was asking about when negative reviews are left for maybe what they damaged the product during use, or maybe they're trying to return the product against the return policy. So what you would do in that sense is still responding to into the negative reviews and making sure that there is an open conversation on your website, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't post it and let it go. I would not post it. I think you post it. But again, if you do have a notion that they may have misused the product, I would say our product is like, for example, if somebody damaged a bicycle because they took it to the top of a ski resort and went bombing down a mountain for it, that's not the type of bikes we design. We don't design mountain bikes with shocks and big fat wide tires. We design bikes for cruising around the city. So I would very much suggest to somebody that, hey, I think you may have used our bike outside of the context. We're happy to help you get it fixed up or get it addressed. We have local partners all across the United States and many cities. But I do think you have to call them out in a way that helps you save a little bit of face, but don't not post it. Don't think it's not going to sink your business. Again, I think it will help you in the long run, but don't be held hostage. I mean, anyone that's in the retail business knows there are some very unreasonable customers out there. And I don't think you always need to concede to those individuals. The customer is not always right.